Hi guys, this is Avya Jamadagni, and today we'll be working on the handle of the main body over here. So the handle looks something like this over here. Uh, Zoom out. All right, so we got some weird looking crank over here. This is like the main. This type of gear is like the main part of the whole assembly. This is what's responsible for the Grouch, for Oscar the Grouch to like come up and then go back down. So that's quite important. And the rest of the handle is fairly easy to work with, or to assemble. So let's get started. Now let's go back to Fusion. And first we need to sketch the main shaft over here, this length over here. So it's looking at 9 diameters, and the total length of it is 108. So let's go back to Fusion and orbit around. What I want to do is I want to create a sketch on this plane that just cuts through this, but I can easily do that by just clicking on here. Now what I want to do is, because this is a new handle, this is a new component as well. So before we start extruding your sketching, let's go ahead and click new component at the top, make sure it's empty, name it handle, activate it because we're going to be working with it, deselect the parent, and just to be sure, select the top component in the browser as the parent body. Press OK, and now we can start sketching our crafting handle. Now let's select this back face over here, create sketch, shift to right view, and we said it's 9 diameters. The circle over here, the small dot, that represents that's the center, and that's exactly where we want to put the circle. Hit C on your keyboard and draw a circle of diameter 9 millimeters. Perfect. Now hit E on your keyboard just to quickly transform to the extrude. And it's already selected as one profile. Just drag this out so you know roughly how it's going to look like, and hit 108. Perfect. Hit enter, and that should be there. Now, if you look closely, there's going to be a small gap over here, and this part is protruding out a little bit there, and that's exactly how we want it to be. If you're wondering whether it's all right to have this part against the wall here, like touching it, it's perfect. It's fine because we're not going to be rotating this so fast that it's going to create a lot of friction, so it should be fine. Now, let's go back to that. Before we start making the handle, I suggest we get this part done with, the main crank. So what I'm thinking is, let's go to Fusion, turn on your origin, just so you have a look at it, and you want that gear to be on this plane, or basically in the middle of this, which is aligned with this plane. So let's click on this plane over here and create a sketch. Navigate to that one. Okay, now here's the tricky part. So by looking at this, right, and I'm also going to be using, where'd it go? This one, this diagram over here. Now we want something it's kind of looking like a golden spiral kind of thing, some type of spiral, and the whole length of it is 41.6 millimeters from there to the bottom. And we have and this diameter over here is 9 millimeters. That's 15. So the total length of this plus that is 24. 24 minus 41.6 is 17.6. Now that means the dimensions for the bottom and this area are not given, but we can work that out by some estimates. So by looking at the size, roughly we're saying that the top is 15 and this part is also 15. So let's say that's 15, which means this is 2.6 millimeters. And let's work with those dimensions and make it. Now, first step is first. I'd say we put some guiding points on here. Let's not make the angle first. Let's just make it vertical. Let's put some guiding points at this point, that point at the very bottom, in line with the center, and we'll work from there. So let's go to Fusion. What we said was, from the center, which is roughly there, right, we want to put a point. that's first 2.6 above this. So if we zoom in, okay, let's just place a point somewhere there. Hit escape. Now hit D on your keyboard, click on the point, and click on the very top of that circle. What we're getting... Oh, never mind. Okay, so we got the center of the circle. That's perfectly fine. That's actually better. So we want that to be 4.5 millimeters plus 2.6, which is 7.1 millimeters. So 7.1, hit enter. And that's perfect. Now from this point upwards, it's 1.5. So hit P on your keyboard. Oh, never mind, not P. Go back to create, select point, and just move up on this line, draw point, hit escape, hit D on your keyboard for dimension, and put a dimension between these 2 points as 15 millimeters. And our spiral's coming into some sort of shape now. And below this, we said it was 15. So again, go to create point, right? Put a point somewhere here, doesn't matter. Hit D on your keyboard for dimension. So you got the center point selected there, and that over here, that's 10. We want 15, hit enter, and that's looking pretty good. We got our spiral roughly into shape. Now we actually have to sketch the spiral using the spline. So hit escape on your keyboard and select fit point spline at the top. Now you want to select this point because that's our starting. And I suggest getting rid of snap over here. So untick snap over there. So it's a lot easier for you to work with. And you're trying to get a uniform increase in the length between this point and the point where you're placing. So let's place one point there, roughly. Another point, say, there. Move. Then let's go here. Hit the 15. Then we're going there. Then roughly there. You can always change this later by moving points around. That looks good. And let's connect it back to 15. Press this green tick mark for, yep, that's what we want. So that's our spline. Now let's fix it around. So hit escape, just so it's a lot easier to work with. That part's looking pretty good. We want this to be a little less smooth. Click on that point. Just select the green handlebars. And just work with it a little bit. That seems fine. Top seems pretty good. Let's click on this one and just try to move it a little down. Nice. Same with this. Perfect. So that's looking pretty good. You can play around with it even more if you would like to. But that's looking good for now. I'm gonna want to create a shape over here just to close off this thing so we can actually extrude this. So hit L on your keyboard for a line. And click on that. Click on the top point and click on the bottom point. And once we do that, this part turns light blue, which indicates that it's a closed shape, so we can extrude. Now, finish the sketch. Turn around. That's looking fine. What I want to do now is, let's go back here, and that's 14 millimeters wide. So, if we go to Fusion and extrude this, I want to extrude symmetric, and I want to go 7 millimeters, so that makes 14 on either side. Make sure it's join, so you actually join it with the handle. Press OK. Perfect. That's looking pretty good. And yep, that's good. Now let's just finish up the handle, and we're done with that. That was the hardest part, so well done if you've gotten it correctly. I encourage you to pause the video and just replay that if you still didn't get it, or leave a comment down below if you need additional help. Now looking at this, so we said the total length is 108 millimeters, which means that basically now we're going to have to create a sketch for the handle, this part, and extrude it back 5 millimeters, but joining onto the main body. Yeah, just take a moment for that to sink in. But that, I feel that's the easiest way to do this. So now looking at the dimensions, we already have that circle here. We just need to draw a couple of tangents to it and close it off with another circle of roughly, 8.43 diameters. So let's work with this. Now, 40, so the main part is that's 40 millimeters. Let's go back to Fusion. Click on that. Right view and create sketch. Okay. Now, you want to make 2 lines, L. Select the top of that, roughly. Right there, you get that X. That's good. And just take it outwards. Try to align it with the red line. So it says 0 degrees. You can always put it manually as well. Just enter 40 millimeters. Yep. Now another line. Same thing except on the bottom. Now just extend it 40 again. Okay. Don't put any dimensions yet because we need to do something before we do that. Now hit C to draw the other circle. Yeah, turn on snap, it's a lot easier now. You can turn it back on. So that's roughly in the middle of both of them. Now take this out, we said 8.43 if I remember. Okay. Now don't be alarmed that those 2 points don't match. We can add a constraint to fix that. Just to check the dimensions. Yep, we got it correct. Go back and let's add some tangents now. So that's a constraint and tangents are located up here. So you click on that and what you want to do is you want to make that and that a tangent. Yep, that's fine. And let's add that same constraint down here. Aha. Okay, we have an issue now. So let's click on this one and that one. And we got a tangent between that. Now what I want to do is I want to make a tangent between that and that as well. But it failed to solve. So I have an idea. Let's escape. Click on that. Delete. Now let's create another line. So again, same point. And try to match it with that roughly. It says tangent. It's going 40.6. That seems fine. That seems fine. We can just place a tangent function between that and the circle now, and that should lock it. Good. That's looking good. Now let's finish the sketch. So we're basically now we need to extrude this part backwards 5 millimeters. So let's click on that. Select that as well. Extrude. Let's go -5. Make sure it's join. Everything seems to work fine. Hit OK. Perfect. Now our handle's looking pretty decent. Go back here just to check the dimensions once again, just to make sure we've got everything right. Seems good. Yep. All right. So almost done. Just need to put that little part outwards. So what we're gonna be doing for that is just an extrude. Just make a sketch on that nice circle. Extrude it out 9 millimeters. Click on that. So let's create a sketch. Or actually, we don't have to. Let's go back to sketches over here. Don't know that one. You need to go to component and go to sketches over here. And this was the latest sketch we made, right? So let's orbit around and we already have the circle over here. That's fine. Let's just select the circle and extrude it out because all the other dimensions are exactly the same. So we might as well just extrude this out 9 millimeters. Operation is join. Hit OK. Seems pretty good. Yep, there's our handle. Everything seems fine. We just need to add a few fillets here and there. So Yeah, that's a 1 mm fillet I'm seeing on the drawing. Let's just move around. Yep, everything's good. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're done. Yay. All right. So let's put a 1 mm fillet on basically all of them. You can turn off the sketch now. It doesn't really matter. Close that. Uh, and hit F on your keyboard. I would suggest doing like one side at a time. It makes it a lot easier for Fusion to compute. We said that's 1 mm. That's fine. Okay. And F. That one. And let's do that one. Or no. Yep, that one. Basically, you want to avoid putting fillets to say this previous edge and that edge at the same time, because sometimes Fusion takes a very long time to compute it and it fails. So it's a lot easier to do either choose sides that are not intersecting or just do one side at a time. That's my advice. Again, 1 mm. That seems fine. Okay. Good. Yep, that's done. We don't need to put any fillets on that because that's going to be inside and no one's going to touch it. It doesn't matter. No fillets required there because that's buried inside that. Just look at how the handle's going. Just activate the top component on top. Click in the white area around. That's pretty good. Now, since this is a component, we can easily move it around. We don't want to. Let's keep it in that position because it's going to be a lot easier to apply joints. And next video, we'll be making the shaft. Till then, have a nice time. Thank you.